Hey Travis kiddos, here is your math essential work for the week. I'm going to show you both the textbook pages and the workbook pages. You can use either one. The textbook pages show a little bit more instruction than the workbook pages do. If you want to do both, that's even better. So you get a little bit of introduction and explanation and extra practice in the workbook. So this week we are focusing on subtraction with regrouping. This is a tough one. This is an important time to practice playing race to zero or race back from either 20, 40, 100 to practice regrouping or trading a 10 for 10 ones in this case for subtraction. We are going to be subtracting a one-digit number from two-digit numbers with regrouping. We're also going to practice subtracting two-digit numbers from other two-digit numbers with regrouping. So take your time with this work this week to really practice and make sure that your child understands what they're doing and why. Again, we don't say borrowing a 10 anymore, but we are regrouping. So it's the same number of things, we're just splitting it up. Okay? So you can use a place value chart to subtract ones with regrouping. So if we have 52 minus 9, so step 1, subtract the ones. We start with the ones all the time. So you cannot take away 9 ones from 2 ones. So you need to regroup. So here we have our 5 tens and 2 ones. We cannot take away 9. So we're going to have to regroup. So they have our 10 here, and they're showing it's going to go into the ones place. And notice how it breaks apart. This is a stick that's all together. When you put it into the ones place, it's broken up into separate ones so that we can work with them or manipulate them. So regroup the tens and ones in 52. So 52 equals 5 tens, 2 ones, which equals 4 tens and 12 ones. That's what's shown in this place value chart. 4 tens, 12 ones. That's what it looks like when we do this. So we've traded a 10. So instead of 5 tens, we have 4. And instead of 2 ones, we have 12 ones. I know when we write this down, it's a little cramped and hard to fit in the 10 here for the 12 ones, but do the best you can, and if you want to spread out your 10s and 1s like this for now, that's a good plan. So now we can take away we can take away 9 from 12. So when we do that, we end up with 3 ones. So 12 ones minus 9 ones equals 3 ones. You can see when we go to the next page here, you can see the next place value chart where they've crossed out the 9 ones to get 3. And we had 4 tens. We're not taking any away. This should say minus, not plus. But 4 minus nothing equals 4. So we have 4 tens, 3 ones, or 43. And again, you can check your work. So if 52 minus 9 equals 43, we can work backwards. So whole minus part equals part. We can add part plus part equals whole to see if it works. And ta-da! It does. You're going to have to regroup again here, but this time you're going to trade 10 ones for a 10. Okay, so the next one, you have some practice to do. So regroup and subtract. So step 1, subtract the ones. Can we take away 7 from 5? Can we do 5 minus 7? We cannot. Now here's the tricky part. Make sure your child does not do 7 minus 5. We do not subtract up. That is not going to help us solve the problem. It's going to confuse it a little bit. So think about what you're doing. If you need to write it horizontally to help you as well, you can do that. But just keep reminding them we subtract down, and if it doesn't work, you can trade a 10 for 10 ones. So 55 is 5 tens and 5 ones, but if you trade one of those 10s for 10 ones, you end up with 4 tens and 15 ones. Now, from 15 ones, you can take away 7. So 15 ones minus 7 ones equals how many? I'm not going to do it for you. Then you're going to do subtract the tens. So 5 tens minus nothing equals, well, actually it would be 4 because, sorry, we traded a 10 for 10 ones. See, it is hard to do when you're not actually writing it down. So I suggest if you're doing the textbook pages, since you can't write on here, I can't physically type in numbers, I would suggest writing these problems down on a piece of paper or a whiteboard at home so that you don't get confused like I just did. So 4 tens minus nothing equals 4 tens. Again, I'm going to let you finish checking all of that. And then you can add it back together, the parts, whatever your answer is, plus 7 to see if you get back to 55. If you don't, just go back and check it again, see where you went wrong. For example, if I ended up with 5 tens there, this would not work, and I would know that I made a mistake and needed to go check it. Okay. Now, here is a second problem, and they're showing you how to do it with number bonds. So 73 is 70 and 3, or 73 is 60, and how many ones would it be? So if we had 7 tens, 3 ones, that's 70 and 3. But if we trade a 10 for 10 ones, we would have 60 and 13. Okay? And then you can subtract from there. Now, when you're subtracting, actually, I'm going to pause here for a second and I'm going to show you the workbook pages that correspond. So this is page 175. You can find this online, but if you have the paper version, I recommend doing it there. If you don't, because again, you cannot type on this page, you can either print it out or write down the problems elsewhere on a paper or whiteboard. So here you have the same kind of work, subtracting a 1-digit number from a 2-digit number, and we are regrouping. So make sure you're subtracting down, not up. And here, be careful aligning the numbers. So 72 minus 9. So the ones go in the ones place. If you need to label the spots, you can. T for tens, O for ones, or write the words. That's going to help. 91 minus 4. You also have this page. So Kayla drops a ball into the number machine. Which ball is it? So you can write the number in the circle. So something goes in. Is it 75, 69, or 85? Something goes in. Subtract 8 and 77 comes out. How could you figure that out? I'm sorry, it doesn't all fit on one page here, or one scroll. How could you figure that out? You could guess and check. You could try each number in here. Try taking away 8 from 75, see where you end. Try taking away 8 from 69, see where you end. Try taking away 8 from 85, see where you end. Or you could work backwards. Just like how we check our work, you could start at the end, add, since we're working backwards, and see what comes out. Okay, this is a whole minus part equals part. So if you'd like to check this way, you could do part plus part equals whole. Okay, let's go back to the textbook pages. So now this is regrouping 2-digit numbers minus 2-digit numbers. Okay, so again, we're going to start with the ones. Doesn't matter what we're subtracting, if it's tens or ones, we're going to start with the ones. So you cannot take away 8 from 4. If I only have 4 ones, I can't take away 8. I don't have enough. So we need to regroup. So trade a 10 for 10 ones. So instead of 5 tens, 4 ones, I have 4 tens, 14 ones. So we just put one of those tens into the ones. Okay, so then there are 10 extra ones, which you can see here. Now I can take away 8. So 14, take away 8. See how they crossed them out? You get 6. So 14 ones minus 8 ones equals 6 ones. Step 2, subtract the tens. So now here, make sure you have crossed out 5 tens because we traded one of them. We don't have 5 tens anymore. We have 4 tens. So 4 minus 3, so 4 tens minus 3 tens, they crossed them out here for us. We end up with 1 10. So 1 10, 6 ones is 16. 54 minus 38 equals 16. And go ahead back and check. So we're going to work backwards now. So 16 plus 38, see if that makes 54. They're telling us it does, but did you double check? Always want to check their work just in case. And then here's some practice for you guys to do. Okay, and again, this is comparable to these workbook pages 177 to 178. So take your time with this. Don't rush through it all in one day. Make sure you take your time to do it correctly, to practice trading 10 for 10 ones, to talk about what that would look like. So instead of 5 10s, 2 ones, it would be what? 4 10s, 12 ones. Drawing pictures for this also really helps. Using manipulatives really helps, but take your time working on the subtraction. Luckily, this is familiar to how we learned, just one word difference. But otherwise, we all learned subtraction the same way too. So it's nothing new in terms of Common Core math, really. So a little bit less stress for those of us that, those of you that struggle with different kinds of math, the way it's presented. You know this one. So here, again, you have a ball goes in, subtract something, out comes something else. So you have options, something goes in, you take away 43, 47 comes out. You can guess and check, you can work backwards, you can use deductive reasoning, totally up to you. Now, oops, wrong one. So here next you have a game. This game is super fun. You just need, a couple of people. You can play up to as many people as you want. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to have 4. So you're going to start at 10. I know it's hard to do without physically having the book, but you could keep track of where you are. Either if you have a tablet, you could lay it down and put your counter cube on top, or you can just keep track. You can use markup or any other thing on your computer. Okay, and you're going to need a number cube or a die or something to roll. So you're going to start here. You're going to start at 10, okay? And so player 1 rolls the number cube. The player moves that number of spaces shown on the number cube. So if I rolled a 1, I would go here, say hello to parrots. Then you have to follow the instructions on the space where the counter lands. So I started with 10. I'm going to add 5 more. 10 plus 5 is 15. Now if I rolled a 2, boop, boop, I lose my pencil, minus 7. So I started with 10. I take away 7, I end at 3. Okay, so you're going to play and you have to keep track of your points as you go. So keep adding and subtracting all the way along this game board to the end. Say bye-bye to animals. And the player with the most points wins. I think everybody wins since you're playing a fun game and practicing a lot of addition and subtraction. So go ahead and whenever you have time this week, I think that's a really great game to play. And then the corresponding pages, there's just some extra practice of of subtraction with regrouping in pages 179 and 180. So here you're going to color the correct answer. So 53 minus 19, you're going to have to solve this, and then one of these 3 is going to be the answer to this. So solve this on paper, on the side, somewhere else you need to do it, and then you're going to color which one of these is the correct answer for each of the problems. You see how the lines dot to connect to the options, okay? And here is just straight subtraction. Oops, sorry. Trying to make it big enough to see. So straight subtraction, again, I recommend using some other paper somewhere. Here you could just count back. I would not recommend counting back 88 or counting back 27 or 39. I really recommend you practice trading 10 for 10 ones. Practice that regrouping, okay? We do have a little bit more this week because we're wrapping up the chapter. Here's some extra practice to do as well, that just like those workbook pages I just showed you, just some extra practice with subtraction. Put on your thinking cap. So we have a thinking cap and we have the chapter wrap up still to do. So put on your thinking cap. Make sure you always put it on tightly. Turn it on. These are tricky. So you are going to use these numbers in the gray circles and put them into these spots in this arrow, pyramid, something, tower. So you're going to put them in so that each of these number sentences makes sense and they work. So this number plus this number equals this number. This number stays the same for this side. You can't change it. This number plus this number equals this number. As usual, you can use any strategy you want. You can use guess and check. You can use deductive reasoning. You can try to work backwards. But you're probably not going to get it on the first try. That is okay. If you don't get it at all, that is okay. The important part is that you're trying, you're practicing your addition, and or subtraction if you're working backwards. And you're using your brain. You're really thinking hard. You're really trying to solve it. That's the most important part there. It does not matter if you actually do solve it or not. Just try your best. You also have a thinking cap in your workbook pages. So here, this is page 181 and 182. So the 100 train is here. On its cars are two numbers that add up to 100. So they give you an example, 38 plus 62. That equals 100. So there are many pairs of numbers that make 100. So you're going to write, they only are asking you to solve 2 times, and try to challenge yourself. I would suggest 100 plus 0 is not going to be the only option that you try. So get creative with it. Maybe even try to find even more than 2 solutions to this problem. How many can you find? You could find a lot of answers here. Get creative with it. Work hard, use your brain, get clever. You can do it. You also have a word problem that requires multiple steps, so definitely a thinking cap problem. Rosa buys stickers each day. She buys 1 sticker on the first day, 2 stickers on the second day, 3 stickers on the third day, and 4 stickers on the fourth day. Rosa follows this pattern for 10 days. How many stickers does she have in all? Now, I'm not going to go over the solution to this yet. I will go over it later in the week and go over some strategies that I would suggest using. I'm going to give you some time to think about it and try. It's also later in all of the work, so no need to rush to it. Okay, one more thing. So this week we are working on finishing up the chapter of addition and subtraction to 100. So here is just kind of a review of addition with and without regrouping and subtraction with and without regrouping. You have the this chapter review test. This is just not really a test, but practice your skills. So you have a page of addition in these balloons and a page of subtraction in these balloons, and that's it. So you can draw a picture, you can write it vertically. You're adding up some 1-digit numbers with 2-digit numbers and 2-digit numbers with 2-digit numbers. Some have regrouping, some do not, so pay attention carefully. Same thing here. Some have regrouping, some do not. Some you're adding 2 2-digit numbers, some you are adding a 1-digit number to 2-digit numbers. So plenty of work to do this week, but take your time to really practice the best you can. And of course, as always, have fun with it and happy learning.